Hello, children. So, I am Somit Ravindran, lecturer in Kendriya Vidyalaya Number 1 Army, Jodhpur. And I'm here with a brand new chapter from Vistas, the chapter number 1, The Third Level by Jack Finney. This author, Jack Finney, has been an American author who lived from 1911 to 1975. And little to know about this author as well. He has excelled in short stories particularly containing fantasy, science fiction, and that includes time travel as well. Of course, he has written some novels as well, and he has been known for very good horror and supernatural concepts as well, which he has depicted in his writings. Some comedies also he has dealt with. Now, the chapter, third level. Of course, every chapter has got some or the other impression of the author himself or herself. Same way, Jack Finney's childhood was spent in a very peaceful, relaxed, idyllic city of Galesburg, which was away from New York. And that Galesburg, which he talks of in this chapter, was in 1890s. Of course, that must have been a peaceful age because 19th century, the gay 90s as it was known for. So his childhood has a bearing on the chapter as well because he continued to miss it. One of his novels, namely Time and Again, was made into a movie as well in 1970. You must watch it if you find time, children. Now, children, haven't your grandparents been telling you stories of their good old peaceful days? And they have been telling you that they had joint families where all the people lived together, absence of nuclear families, and their pastimes were enjoyment, times of leisure. And how did they spend their times of leisure? By gardening, of course, with children and their fathers and mothers together, grandparents together in big farms. And you see here, they must be telling you that when they were children, they used to jump around in the muddy puddles during rainy season, splashing water overhead around without fear of any scoldings from their mothers and fathers. And their houses were of big frame and airy. That sounds to be airy fairy to know. And they keep us telling that there was no television, no fears or worries, and the traffic was not as much as it is today. They had horse carriages rather than cars and buses and the constant honking of vehicles. And those times were pretty cheap. The headmaster got a salary of rupees 10. Perhaps this is too more than what it was actually. 1 kg of ghee cost just 4 annas. And there were no planes and no stock market crashes. And there were black and white silent movies. And you know what? Owning a bicycle was a matter of pride. You know? Owner's pride, neighbor's envy, no? In fact, nothing troubled them. Well, that was at least what they tell us, our grandparents. And when you listen to such stories of past, don't you feel like traveling in time backwards into those good old days? And just look at the present world. Stress, insecurity, tensions. And these are the post-war times. The First World War, remember? 20 years after 1890s. When was the First World War? 1914. And Second World War yet to come. When everybody wants to escape from such a harsh world, don't we? It is such a cruel world of competition, of rivalry, ambition, and competition. This is a modern phenomenon. So a wish to escape, no? And who doesn't want to? Who doesn't want to escape from worries, from uncertainties, from fears, from competition, the cutthroat competition? But can we time travel in a machine back into those good old charming times of peace? Well, in this very chapter, if it is not a time machine, then it is a train that our main character Charlie finds. And a train to 1890, 100 years back, to that wonderful, peaceful past of Galesburg, Illinois. And where does he find it? At Grand Central Station. That is the main railway station in New York. But is he able to catch the train and reach his favored, fabulous, peaceful Galesburg, which his grandfather always used to talk about? Let's read the chapter now, The Third Level by Jack Finney. Now let's listen to Charlie himself and decide what troubled him. I have been on the third level of the Grand Central Station. Yes, I have taken the obvious step. I talked to a psychiatrist friend of mine. I told him about the third level at Grand Central Station, and he said it was a waking dream wish fulfillment. He said I was unhappy. That made my wife kind of mad. But he explained that he meant the whole world is full of insecurity, fear, war, worry, and all the rest of it, and that I just want to escape. Well, who doesn't? Who doesn't? Everybody I know wants to escape, but they don't wander down into any third level at Grand Central Station. Right? Anyway, here's what happened at Grand Central. One night last summer, I worked late at the office. I was in a hurry to get uptown to my apartment. So I decided to take the subway from Grand Central because it's faster than the bus. Now I don't know why this should have happened to me. I am just an ordinary guy named Charlie, 31 years old, and I was wearing a tan garbadine suit and a straw hat with a fancy band. I passed a dozen men who looked just like me, and I wasn't trying to escape from anything. I just wanted to get home to Lavozia, my wife. So students, what does actually Charlie say? He lost his way at the Grand Central, right? And he's saying that it seems as if the Grand Central seems like growing fast, like a tree grows. He says the fast growing Grand Central Station at times seems to be a maze to me, because he had lost his way a couple of times earlier as well while taking the subway. Once he entered the lobby of the Roosevelt Hotel, while the other time he emerged at an office building that was 3 blocks away. But this was the first time that he loses his way and finds the third level, and that is unique. But Charlie keeps walking in the quiet corridor, angles left and slants downward till he reaches an very architecturally old station that is very different from the two familiar levels, and that is a very antique kind of station which he is about to describe in a little while. I have been in and out of Grand Central hundreds of times, but I am always bumping into new doors, new doorways, and stairs and corridors. Once I got into a tunnel about a mile long and came out in the lobby of the Roosevelt Hotel. Sometimes I think Grand Central is growing like a tree, pushing out new corridors and staircases like roots. There's probably a long tunnel that nobody knows about, feeling its way under the city right now, on its way to Times Square and maybe another to Central Park. And maybe because for so many people through the years, Grand Central has been an exit, a way of escape, maybe that's how the tunnel I got into. But I never told my psychiatrist friend about that idea. Well, the corridor I was in began angling left and slanting downwards, and I thought that was wrong, but I kept on walking. All I could hear was the empty sound of my own footsteps, and I didn't pass a soul. Then I heard that sort of hollow roar ahead. That means open space and people talking. I saw ahead, and then the tunnel turned sharp left. I went down a short flight of stairs and came out on the third level at Grand Central Station. And Charlie tells us that sometimes he feels that Grand Central is a live tree. And then he says there's probably a long tunnel that nobody knows about, feeling its way under the city right now. He means there is a tunnel beneath the city, and it ends up sometimes this way, sometimes Times Square, on other occasions at Roosevelt Hotel, and this time it ends up at third level. Now, at the same time, he says, because for so many people through the years, Grand Central has been an exit, a way of escape. Maybe that's how the tunnel I got into. Now he admits, remember, he says, perhaps it is a way of escape. It is an exit for many. People leave one town to another. People leave one city for another one. Perhaps I am leaving my present times for the past times, and I use this third level as a passage and train to 1894 as a vehicle. So it could be he knows somewhere deep down in his subconscious that it could be just an imagination, although he does not like admitting to it. He does not like confessing it. And that's why he says that I never told my psychiatrist friend about that idea. Which idea? That perhaps, yes, Grand Central has been an exit and it could be an escape route. Because you remember on the first occasion, Sam had already diagnosed him, telling him that it is nothing but a waking dream wish fulfillment. You are just fulfilling a pleasant dream in your waking state of mind. You are not sleeping, you are wide awake, but it is just a dream. It's a waking dream, and you are fulfilling a pleasant idea of escaping into your own pleasant past, that past of Galesburg, Illinois, which your grandfather has been telling so many stories about. Well, yes, it was the third level at the Grand Central Station, and it was the clerk who was sitting at the wooden booth wearing a green eye shade and long black sleeve protectors. Strange, amazing. Rooms were small, and the cabin was pretty small, old-fashioned one. The open flame gas lights, I saw it was a sort of flickering, and brass spittoons for spitting tobacco. And across the station, a man was pulling a gold watch from his vest pocket, wearing a black 4-button suit with tiny lapels. He was wearing a derby hat. I could not believe the black 4-button suit with tiny lapels of 1890s. Amazing. How I always dreamt about. And what about the handlebar moustaches? I've never seen so many beards, fancy moustaches, and the long sideburns in my life. So many beards, so many people around. And women walked in through the train gate. She wore a dress with leg of mutton sleeves and skirts to the top of her high buttoned shoe. My goodness. I caught a glimpse of a locomotive as well, a very small Courier and Eves locomotive with a funnel shaped stack. And that caught my breath. Yes, it was the gay 90s. To make sure, I walked over to a newsboy and glanced at the stack of papers at his feet. Yes, it was The World. And The World hasn't been published for years. And when I looked at the date, it was printed June 11, 1894. I turned towards the ticket windows, knowing that here on the third level at Grand Central, I could buy tickets that would take Lauzia and me anywhere in the United States we wanted to go. Yes, I wanted 2 tickets to Galesburg, Illinois, 2 tickets to 1894, my Galesburg. I could buy tickets that could take me anywhere in the United States we wanted to go in the year 1894. And I wanted 2 tickets to Galesburg, Illinois. And students, Charlie actually asks us, and he entices us, he invites us. He says, have you been ever there? It's a wonderful town still, with big old frame houses, huge lawns, and tremendous trees whose branches meet overhead and roof over the streets. And in 1894, summer evenings were twice as long, and people sat out on their lawns, the men smoking cigars and talking quietly, the women waving palm leaf fans with the fireflies all around, in a peaceful world. To be back there with the First World War, still 20 years off, and the World War II, over 40 years into the future, I wanted 2 tickets for that. The clerk figured the fare. He glanced at my fancy hatband, and he figured the fare. And I had enough for 2 coach tickets one way. But when I counted out the money and looked up, the clerk was staring at me. He nodded at the bills. That ain't money, mister, he said. And if you are trying to skin me, you will not get very far. And he glanced at the cash drawer beside him. Of course, the money was old style bills, half again as big as the money we use nowadays, and different looking. I turned away and got out fast. Well, there's nothing nice about jail, even in 1894. Now read this, students, where he says, I drew $300 out of the bank next day and bought old style currency. And how much worth? Go on reading. He says, my $300 bought less than 200 in old style bills. But does he ever find the third level back again? Well, it is here, students, when he went to his psychiatrist friend Sam and told all about his experience. Although he was met with a denial, Sam said that nothing, don't worry Charlie, it is just a waking dream, wish fulfillment. And the rest of the story in my next video. Thank you so much, students. I enjoyed.